Hello and happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for listening to my talk. My name is Bruce Newman. I am representing Tashi Choling Retreat Center in the Colstein Valley. For those of you who don't know, that's just south of Ashland on the southern slopes of Mount Ashland. I've been asked to speak on the topic balancing solitude and community. So our center represents the Mahayana Buddhism tradition. So what I will say will be in the context of Mahayana Buddhism. The main view or perspective of Mahayana Buddhism is the unity of wisdom and compassion. Wisdom means transiting from our ordinary limited perception of reality to the perception of a Buddha, an enlightened being. Our ordinary limited perception of reality gets us in a lot of trouble because we misperceive things, and through that misperception we cause suffering for ourselves and others in the present and in the future. So it's incumbent upon us as followers of this tradition to try to generate wisdom that cuts through this misperception and see things the way things really are, like a Buddha does. So not only do we misperceive the world, all beings, all living beings also misperceive the world. And as a result of their misperception, like ourselves, they also suffer. So on our spiritual path, we do not want to ignore the suffering of even one being. So we need to generate great compassion, which encompasses all sentient beings, all living beings, and unite that with the wisdom that sees things the way they truly are. Wisdom is best cultivated in solitude through the practice of meditation. When we first start meditating, as probably many of you know, our meditation is very, very bumpy. We have lots of thoughts, distractions, disturbing emotions. It's very discouraging at first, but we realize that this is a very important process as we begin to see the very patterns that have been keeping us unfree and stuck in habitual patterns since all our lives. And if we're Buddhists, we believe from beginningless time. So this rough part, bumpy part of our practice is an essential and wonderful part of our practice, though sometimes not much fun. Eventually, these bumps smooth out, and our mind becomes calmer and calmer for longer periods of time. And with that calmness comes a focus, the ability to concentrate clearly for longer periods of time also. This focus can then be used to penetrate our delusions through a variety of techniques. And as we penetrate our delusions, our true nature, our Buddha nature, our wisdom rises from that process. So this is wisdom, and it's best accomplished through meditation in solitude. Compassion, on the other hand, is best accomplished when we are out in the world. We strive to be kind, generous, loving, and patient. We extend ourselves and become more engaged. We become more and more compassionate. There are three levels of community that I can think of. There are our immediate spiritual brothers and sisters who provide support, the support necessary to progress along the path through community sharing, helping us if we're in solitude, all those necessary functions. If there are seniors, they can provide us with guidance and instruction. The other communities, people like our neighbors and just the world in general, they are uh, people for who we should never cease generating greater and greater compassion for, and uh, try to do what's within our capabilities to help them. So with that as a background, I can say a couple of words on balancing solitude and community. So as I said, as Mahayana Buddhists, we definitely do need to cultivate both the solitude for the wisdom aspect, community for the compassion aspect, but there are no hard and fast rules for how we balance them. You'll probably find that there are times where solitude beckons us, and other times when engagement and service seems like the best way to practice the path, follow the path. And sometimes we're just not in control of the situation. We can go into retreat only to find that our father is ill and we're the only one who can take care of them. Sometimes after a very busy life, we might find that it is then time to retire, and then solitude is an appropriate path. So however life seems to unfold for us, um, we should try to find the balance within that unfolding. Excuse me. So the simplest and most straightforward way of finding a balance between the two is that if you're lucky enough to have a good spiritual teacher, then the spiritual teacher can give you very clear guidelines on how to find a balance. I am very lucky to have found such a teacher, and he has given me precise instructions that are personal for myself on how to find that balance. But generally would be different for every one of his students and possibly for other spiritual teachers. Also, our life situation may be pretty unflexible, and that determines the balance between solitude and community. If we are working at a job, taking care of children, and also taking care of our aging parents, then solitude is not really an option. So balance means within the context of that busyness, finding a little time for a morning practice or an afternoon practice. But generally, it comes down to an individual choice. We all have different proclivities. Some people are more drawn to a contemplative life, and solitude, the balance would be more on the side of solitude. Some people are more active and engaged, and then their balance would be more on the side of community. So it's great if you have a teacher who can give you really clear instructions, but it's also wonderful that if you're able to follow your heart. So I hope these few words have been of benefit to you. Please have a wonderful and nourishing Thanksgiving, and hopefully uh, you will find a way to celebrate. We all will in this time of confusion and difficulty. And may all other beings also find nourishment, uh, the nourishment of wisdom and compassion. So thank you very much. Thank you for allowing me to share these few words, and have a wonderful day.